Hello everybody, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine, right here in the city of Memphis, in the county, city, state of Tennessee. Today's date is early Sunday morning, September 27, 2020, time 6:10 a.m. First, I thank all my family support for you continue to keep myself employed right here in the Memphis tri-state area and continue to further my education at Monroe College online, continue to pursue my degree study, be an administrative concentrating mark at the present time. I took a break from going to school, but in the very near future I will be going back to Monroe College online to continue to pursue my degree study, be an administrative concentrating mark. Anti-gang. The United States Department of Justice. The United States Department of Justice. All those women, all those men working at the United States Department of Justice. Anti-gang. Now, all that education over there, they know way more than the sorority and the fraternity alumni. You understand? Oh yeah, they know way more than the alumni. They've been around a long time, longer than, you know what I'm saying? They've been around longer than the sorority and fraternity, the alumni. So, and anti-gang, that's right. See. Ain't nothing to argue about. See, all that so-called blood gang, crib gang, it's wrong. See, it's wrong. Anti-gang, it's wrong. It's wrong. Ain't nothing to argue about. That's the end. That's the end of that. That's over. That's the end of that. Now these are just a few of the free logo design websites you go to make anti-gang logo. Now I want you to remember these words: coercion, sexual coercion, psychological manipulation, and psychological abuse. Now, also, when we be talking about that so-called literature, this so-called occult literature. See, I want to make sure. See that literature, that Western esotericism, Western mystery tradition, Hermetism, Gnosticism, Neoplatonism, Rosicrucianism, Freemasonry, and then the Freemasonry Eastern Star. Yeah, you ride around it with all them damn symbols and stuff on their car, and like some places, the Eastern Star. And I be seeing a stupid song gone. The Age of Enlightenment, Spiritualism, Kabbalah. Now look at occult and arcane, and macrocosm, microcosm, and exoteric. Occult. And now occultism, arcane, and then you see esoteric, and then spiritualism, theosophy, anthroposophy, Hermetic order of the Golden Dawn. New Age. Now they have these occult scientists, and then they have these occult qualities. Now, that literature, the United States Department of Justice, they know what that is. Now, if you see me sitting here on my video and I'm sitting there showing it to you, The United States Department of Justice, they know what you're talking about. Call the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Call the Federal Bureau of Investigation. They want to hear from you. Because see, it's a crime. It's criminal. Just like they say anti, and then when it comes to the sorority and the fraternity, the alumni trying to influence you like they know every damn thing. And when you say you don't want to, you don't want to listen to what the sorority and fraternity try to influence, well, over there at the United Nations, UNESCO and UNICEF, that so-called literature, the United Nations, all the people of the world, all over the world. So that so-called literature, and they trying to go all over the world, trying to influence you, trying to make you think that somebody way over there, some other part of the world. People at the United Nations know about that literature all over the world. And see all the crimes that people have committed all these years with that literature. The occult, the International Bill of Human Rights is wrong. That literature is Freemasonry, all that junk, all that occult literature, Gnosticism and Hermetism is wrong. The International Bill of Human Rights. The International Bill of Human Rights. The International Bill of Human Rights. That literature is wrong. It's wrong. So you ain't got to be intimidated by these cowards. They're cowards. You ain't got to be with that so-called literature. Just like I said, the United States Department just talking about the gang and all that. Man, that you know damn well that the word gang don't even mean nothing like that, and the word mob don't have. You know what I mean? The United States Department of Justice, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI. They want to hear from you. They want to hear from you. Yes, they do, because they know about it. It's criminal. It's a crime. Get in contact with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. They know about it. And then, to really make it perfectly clear, the Holy Bible. This right here, the most reliable. This is the most reliable source when it comes to gang and mob, that so-called occult literature. First of all, God created everything. The Holy Bible. Turn to the 5 books of Moses. Turn to the 5 books of Moses. And God told you in the 5 books of Moses, all that literature, that occult is wrong. It's all lies. See, you listen to God. I am the Lord thy God. In the 10 Commandments, in the book of Exodus chapter 20, verses 1 through 17. I am the Lord thy God. You listen to God and God on. Then when you go to the New Testament, in the book of Matthew chapter 20. Now let me make sure chapter the 10 Commandments, book of Exodus. Yep, that's what it is. The book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 1 through 17. Now, the book of Matthew, that's in the Old Testament, the 5 books of Moses. See all this stuff about the occult and all that junk. And then, Then you go to the New Testament, and the greatest commandment in the law, the book of Matthew chapter 22 verses 35 through 40, the book of Mark chapter 12 verses 28 through 31, the book of Luke chapter 10 verse 25 through 28. See, that lives God telling you again in the New Testament. See, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, all thy soul, and all thy mind. That's the first and great commandment. The second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. See, when you talk, that literature, that occult literature is wrong. And of course, taking the word gang from another language, then lying, talking about what it means, and that's not what it means, mob. That's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. So, that occultness is nothing. It's nothing. You don't listen to man, listen to God. And then also in the New Testament, God telling you that the devil and all his angels and all things that offend them which do iniquity, they're going to be punished with everlasting punishment. See, you don't get away with lying. You ain't getting away. And most important, you ain't getting away from God. Now, you might get away from the FBI, you might get away from, the United Nations prosecuting attorney. I mean, for man, you might not get prosecuted. Just like for example, in the Sam Cooke, Mr. Sam Cooke murder case, Bertha Lee Franklin didn't go to jail. Well, this man doing something, doing that. But I guarantee Bertha Lee Franklin, God, you ain't getting away. You don't get away. See, you don't get away. You don't get away. So Matthew chapter 13 verse 1 through 58. Matthew chapter 25 verse 1 through 46. Then you turn to the book of Mark chapter 4 verse 1 through 32. In the book of Mark chapter 13 verse 1 through 37. You don't get away. That's the most important of all. You don't get away from God. Amen. See, I want to start my video because I know my work schedule is I had to work Saturday afternoon, then this Sunday afternoon I'm at to work also, but I'm still doing my video. So I want to make sure I start my video and make sure I continue to emphasize that point, that you don't get away with that literature mess, lying about language and that occult literature. You don't get away with that. For most important of all, you don't get away with that with God. Amen. Amen. You don't get away with that with God. Now you might try to pull that crap with man. Excuse me. You don't get away with that with God. Now, what time is 6 now? I'm going to continue to protest. I'm going to continue to speak out. I'm going to continue to be an advocate for Mr. Sam Cooke. It's a good man. Good man. Who was murdered, unjustly murdered by this field house nigga named Bertha Lee Franklin. A buffoon, ignorant buffoon. It was ruled unjustifiable homicide by some criminals. At the time in America, in 1964, America was still dealing with, even today, still today. But I mean, the time was different. 1964. This 2020. Things, been a positive changes have been made, and still a lot of work to be done, and also around the world. But like I said, 1964, it was a different day and time, and Mr. Sam Cooke was unjustly murdered by this ignorant buffoon field house nigga named Bertha Lee Franklin. And I purchased a copy of Mr. Sam Cooke's autopsy, the coroner's report, the inquest on Mr. Sam Cooke's body from Celebrity Archive for $25. And now, like I said, these are official court documents. The coroner's inquest. These are official court documents. The state of California, the county of Los Angeles, the city of Los Angeles. These are the state of California. These are official. And when you say the state of California, see the United States government, the United States of America, the United States Supreme Court. See, they're district court. They're federal district courts. They're all states, all 50 states and U.S. territories. They are assigned federal districts. Now the state of California is assigned to a federal district. So these are official court documents. These are official court documents. Victims' rights. Victims' rights. See, we live in a different day and time. It's going to be justice for Mr. Sam Cooke. from Mr. Sam Cook's family, all his family members, all his friends and fans. That includes Saw Record. Don't even think that you don't get away with doing that. You don't get away with that. You know, no. Talking about you murdered Mr. Sam Cook. No. You don't get away with doing that. That includes Saw Record. Miss Barbara Campbell Cook. That's wrong. And you owe Miss Barbara Campbell Cook a lot of money. You don't do that. You don't sit. No. You don't murder Mr. Sam Cook and think that you're going to. No. There's no such thing in the court of law to tell you that you can get to see everybody have. See, Mr. Sam Cook is the reason why we have victims' rights today. He one of the reasons why we have victims' rights today. Verdict of coroner's jury, state of California, county of Los Angeles, in the matter of the inquisition upon the body of Sam Cook, deceased, before the coroner of the county of Los Angeles. We, the jury, summoned to appear before the coroner of Los Angeles County at room 150, the Hall of Justice, Los Angeles, California, the 16th day of December AD 1964, to inquire to the cause of death, Sam Cook. Having been duly sworn according to law, having made such inquisition, hearing the testimony adduced upon our oath, each and all do say that we find that the deceased was named Sam Cook, a male, married, native of Mississippi, aged about 33 years, and that he came to his death on the 11th day of December 1964, 37 South Figueroa Avenue, Los Angeles County, California, that this death was caused by a gunshot wound in the chest, perforating the heart of both lungs with massive hemorrhage, inflicted by a gun in the hands of Bertha Franklin, 9137 South Figueroa Avenue, Los Angeles, California, after the deceased had made forcible entry. And from the testimony introduced at this time, we find the death to be justified homicide committed by the said Bertha Franklin in protecting her life and property. All of which we duly certified by this inquisition writing by us signed the 16th day of December 1964. There's no such thing. Now, let me say this. The evidence in Mr. Sam Cook's murder case is overwhelming. Now, first degree murder, I want to say capital murder. You know, there's a criteria, you know, for, you know, first degree murder and then capital murder, the death penalty. Based on the evidence. You know, you can't go into a court of law, civil court, criminal court, just on emotions and feelings. Evidence. Everyone's, you know, innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, based on the evidence. Now, in Mr. Sam Cook's murder case, the evidence is overwhelming. Mr. Sam Cook shot and killed by this ignorant buffoon, a house field nigga named Bertha Lee Frank, with a wrong .22 revolver. Now, Mr. Sam Cook got a gunshot wound on his left side. Like it says, hit his both lung and his heart. Now, your common sense, you can't have a revolver, a wrong .22 revolver, and shoot and kill Mr. Sam Cook from the front or from the back with one bullet and hit both lungs and the heart with one bullet. Use your common sense. Mr. Sam Cook was shot and killed from his left side. Mr. Sam. He couldn't have been standing. He was on his knees. The bullet hit the left lung first, hit his heart, and then hit his right lung. The direction of the bullet in a downward direction. So he couldn't have been standing. That's common sense. Now, the evidence is overwhelming. Mr. Sam Cook, at the time of his murder, had a sports coat, sports jacket on, and gunpowder residue at the entry of the gunshot. Gunpowder residue. You understand? On the left side. The barrel of the gun was so close to Mr. Sam Cook's side, left side, that it left gunpowder residue on the sports coat, sports jacket on the left side. And of course, when you have a gunshot wound, there's gonna be blood on that side. On that side. And the crime scene, and also being that close, that means the barrel of the gun was that close. According to testimony from the investigator, Mr. Thomas, about 1/8 of an inch. That's you that close, and then you so close to the victim that you left gunpowder residue. You understand? You left gunpowder residue. And the evidence is overwhelming. Overwhelming. And they took pictures of the crime scene. And also the ballistics on the gun and the bullet. And as you know, the bullet that killed himself was in his body, and they did recover that bullet. And then this stupid person had the nerve to shoot 2 more bullets. Like you smart. They found one other bullet. There were 3 shots fired. They found one bullet in Mr. Sam Cook's body, and there was another shell casing that was found. Bullet that was found at the crime scene. Then the other bullet they didn't find. And so like I said, there's a picture. There were pictures taken. I think it's 7 pictures that they took of the crime scene. And picture number 5, it shows Miss Sam Cook's body at the time of his death. Picture number 5 shows Miss Sam Cook's body at the time of his death. And like I said, the evidence overwhelming. First degree murder. And then and also the person who the shooter, Bertha Lee Franklin, the clothing that she wore, being that close to the victim when she shot and killed Mr. Sam Cook. The blood splatter. The blood, you understand, the blood. And that even with Miss Sam Cook having a sports jacket. See, this is what they call evidence. See, this is the reason why the evidence is so overwhelming. You would think that Miss Sam Cook had a sports jacket, like it was shield, the blood spot. But see, this stupid, ignorant person was just that close to Mr. Sam Cook that there was blood on her clothing. Where it comes, that's Mr. Sam Cook's blood. Because I know damn well you ain't come to work claiming you a manager. You ain't come to work with Mr. Sam Cook's blood on your clothes, on the dress. That's Mr. Sam Cook's blood. The evidence is overwhelming. And then the stupid person made a statement to the police that she did shoot Mr. Sam Cook. She shot and killed Mr. Sam. She tried to make it sound like it was a justifiable. It never was no reason. It never was no reason for you to shoot and kill. That's the reason why it's first degree murder. It was premeditated. It was premeditated. See? And now I've already gone over that in my previous videos, but it was premeditated. Premeditated first degree murder. And Miss Barbara Campbell Cook and Mr. Sam Cook was married to Miss Barbara Campbell Cook at the time, and they had 2 beautiful little daughters who were little girls at the time of their father's death, Linda and Tracy. They were little girls. And they're adults now. Victims' rights. Victims' rights. Victims' rights. Miss Barbara Campbell Cook. She don't have to be afraid to go to court because, like I said, based on the evidence, it's an open shut case. The evidence is overwhelming. It's overwhelming. Don't have nothing to worry about. The so-called attorney that represented Miss Barbara Campbell Cook, ineffective assistant counsel. Maycheck. Ineffective assistant counsel. Victims' rights. Like I say, the evidence is overwhelming. It's overwhelming. The evidence is overwhelming. So like I said, Miss Barbara Campbell Cook, at the time, Mrs. Sam Cook's wife, their two beautiful little daughters, Linda and Tracy. Mr. Sam Cook's mother and father at the time his murder was still alive. All of Mrs. Sam Cook's Mrs. Sam Cook's sisters and brothers, and all his nieces and nephews, and friends like Mr. Duval's, Chicago, Illinois. They were best friends. Johnny Taylor's a prodigy of Mr. Sam Cook, and many of his friends and fans, and including myself. Mr. Sam Cook was a good man. I can just look at this man and just see all the good this man tried to do, and it's wrong what that woman did, and it's wrong what the people in that court and that coroner's inquest did. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do what's right. Just like I say, when you read your holy Bible, you're supposed to always do what God tells you to do. See? It's wrong. It's wrong. Victims' rights. Victims' rights. You owe Miss Barbara Campbell Cook a lot of money. That includes SAR records. And Miss Barbara Campbell Cook don't have anything to be afraid of or to worry about, like the court case said. Victims' rights. Victims' rights. Linda and Trace ain't got nothing to worry about. Victims' rights. Mr. Sam Cook's nieces and nephews don't have nothing to worry about. Victims' rights. Mr. Sam Cook's friends, the highway QCs in Chicago, Illinois, the highway QCs, friends of Mr. Sam Cook's an original member of the highway QCs in Chicago. He was living in Chicago, Illinois, moved from Mississippi to Chicago, Illinois. He's the original member of the highway QCs. Original member of the highway QC. And I know the highway QC, they be seeing my video, like I said, victims' rights. Most important, don't forget victims' rights. Okay? Victims' rights. You don't have nothing to worry about. Fans of Miss Sam Cooke, including myself, victims' rights. It's going to be justice in a court of law. Civil court, criminal court. Mr. Sam Cooke. That includes Saw Records. Now I'm going to do my Instagram. And after I do my Instagram, I'm still do my Periscope video. So let's do that. Alright. As I said before, I'm gonna do my Instagram. Then after I do my Instagram, I'll do my Periscope. So hello everybody. My name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine, right here in the city of the county sheriff in the state of Tennessee. Today's date is early. Sunday morning, September the 27th, 2020, time 6:50 a.m. First thing, thank all my family support for your continued support. Anti-gang. The United States Department of Justice. Anti-gang. So the sorority and the fraternity, the alumni, that's wrong. That coward ass shit you try to pull on the street, trying to be out on the street. The United States Department just said anti-gang. These are just a few of the free logo designs. That's how you go to the anti-gang logo. Remember these words: coercion, sexual coercion, psychological coercion, psychological manipulation, psychological abuse. Like I said, the United States Department of Justice said anti-gang. So all that blood gang, crip gang, you know damn well that coward shit wrong. It's wrong. See, the United States Department of Justice, they know way more than the sorority and the fraternity. The alumni, they know way more than that. They've been around long. See, they've been around. They know way more than the sorority and fraternity, the alumni. They ain't no goddamn about it. Call the FBI. Call the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And also, they so-called occult literature. Now, Western esotericism, Western mystery, tradition, hermetism, Gnosticism, Neo-Paganism, Rosicrucianism, Freemasonry, the Eastern Star, the Angel of Enlightenment, Spiritualism, Kabbalah. Then you see occult and arcane, and microcosm, esoteric. See, the United Nations, they know way more than the sorority, the fraternity, the alumni. The United Nations, see, that's all the people of the earth. So when you see these people trying to go different places on the earth to try to negatively influence you to listen to what they saying, see, the United Nations, they know. They know way more than the sorority, the fraternity, the alumni. Occult, arcane, esoteric, spiritualism, theosophy, anthroposophy, Hermetic order of the Golden Dawn, New Age. Then you see occult signs and then occult qualities. See, the United States Department of Justice, they say anti-gang. You see, that also includes, but see, that's where it came from the occult. That's where it came from. You see, all the crimes that the people committed in the past and present and could possibly commit in the future. See, with that occult literature, the United Nations enacted the International Declaration of Human Rights, the International Declaration of Human Rights. See, the United Nations, they know way more than a sorority and a fraternity alumni. They know way more. UNESCO, UNICEF, they know way more than the alumni, the sorority and fraternity alumni. And then, most important, the Holy Bible. The Holy Bible. See, there's a cult literature in the Holy Bible. In the Old Testament, God told you in the Old Testament, the 5 books of Moses, all that occult literature is wrong. In the New Testament, wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. The Bible is right. The Holy Bible is right. That occult literature, wrong. It's wrong. Now, I'm gonna continue to speak out. I'm gonna continue to be an advocate for Mr. Sam Cooke. For Mr. Sam Cooke. A man, a good man. A young man at the age of about 33 years old was unjustly murdered by an ignorant buffoon, a field house nigga named Bertha Lee Franklin. In 1964, America was a different place in time. 1964, this 2020. It was wrong what she did, and it was wrong what them people that coroner's inquest did. And it's gonna be justice in a criminal in a court of law, civil court, criminal court for Mr. Sam Cooke. It's gonna be justice, victims' rights. See, one of the reasons why we have victims' rights today is Mr. Sam Cooke. He the reason why. He one of the reasons we have victims' rights today. Because of what them people did was wrong. It was wrong what them people did. It was wrong. Now I purchased a copy of Mr. Sam Cooke's autopsy, the coroner's inquest. It's official court documents from Celebrity Archive at $25. Official court document. It's the state of California, the county of Los Angeles, the city of Los Angeles. And then when you say the state of California, see, the United States of America has 50 states. And the 50 states, the United States Supreme Court with the federal court, there are district courts, which is the Supreme Court. And those district courts, all 50 states are assigned, and U.S. territory are assigned a district court. So the state of California, there's a district court that the state of California is assigned to. verdict of the coroner's jury, the state of California, county of Los Angeles, in the matter of the inquisition upon the body of Sam Cooke, deceased. Before the coroner of the county of Los Angeles, we, the jury, summoned to appear before the coroner of Los Angeles County in room 150, Hall of Justice, Los Angeles, California, on the 16th day of December 18, 1964, to inquire into the cause of the death of Sam Cooke, having been duly sworn according to law and having made such inquisition, and hearing the testimony adduced upon our oath, each and all do say that we find that the deceased was named Sam Cooke, a male married native of Mississippi, aged about 33 years, that he came to his death on the 11th day of December 1964 at 9137 South 54th Avenue, Los Angeles County, California, that this death was caused by gunshot wound to the chest, perforating the heart of both along with massive hemorrhage inflicted by a gun in the hand of Berkeley Frame, 9137 South 54th Avenue, Los Angeles, California, after the deceased had made forcible entry. From the testimony introduced this time, we find that death to be justified on homicide committed by the same Berkeley Frame to protect the life and property. All of which we do is certified by this inquisition right by the side this 16th day of December 1964. Now I know it was wrong. It was wrong. Mr. Sam Cooke being shot and killed wrong. And his death being ruled unjustified on homicide is wrong. We have victims' rights today. And Mr. Sam Cooke is one of the reasons why we have victims' rights today. Now, at the time of his murder, Mr. Sam Cooke married to his wife, Ms. Barbara Campbell Cooke. She's still alive today. And at the time, they had Ms. Sam Cooke and Ms. Barbara Campbell Cooke had two beautiful little daughters who were little girls at the time of his death. Linda and Tracy. And Miss Sam Cooke's mother and father, they were still alive at the time of his death. And all his sisters and brothers, all his nieces and nephews, and all the children and grandchildren. You know, we have victims' rights today. It's going to be justice in the court of law, civil court, criminal court, for Mr. Sam Cooke and all his family, friends like the Highway QC, Mr. Sam Cooke, original member of the Highway QCs in Chicago, Illinois. Mr. Sam Cooke is the original member of the Highway QC. Mr. Lou Rawls, best friend, Mr. Sam Cooke, best friend, and a prodigy of Mr. Sam Cooke, Johnny Taylor, and all Mr. Sam Cooke's friends. There's gonna be justice in the court of law, civil court, criminal court. That includes SAW records. You can't shoot and kill Mr. Sam Cooke. That includes SAW records. That was victims' rights. Victims' rights. Now, the evidence in Mr. Sam Cooke's murder case is overwhelming. So first of all, the so-called the person who shot and killed Mr. Sam Cooke, Bertha Lee Franklin, made a statement to the police, and the evidence, there were pictures taken of the crime scene. Picture number 5 shows Mr. Sam Cooke's body at the time of his death. He wasn't standing. He was on his knees when he was shot and killed. And the gun that was used to shoot and kill Mr. Sam Cooke, the wrong .22 revolver, as well as the bullet that killed Mr. Sam Cooke was recovered. The bullet was recovered from Mr. Sam Cooke's body. Ballistic was done. It was a match. Mr. Sam Cooke at the time of his death had a sports coat, sports jacket on, and he was shot and killed from his left side. Now, like I said, it was a wrong .22 revolver. Hit both lungs and his heart. Now, use your common sense. You can't use a grown .22 revolver to shoot and kill the Sam Cooke. Hit both lungs and the heart from the front and the back with a revolver. Usual common sense. The Sam Cooke was shot and killed from his left side. From his left side. Hit the left lung. Hit his heart. Another bullet. Hit his left lung first. Hit his heart. And then hit his right lung. The bullet that killed the Sam Cooke was recovered in his body from his right side. Evidence. It's evidence. Overwhelming. And also, the blood after Mr. Sam Cooke was shot and killed. The blood coming from his left side. And also, the Sam Cooke had that sports coat, sports jacket on. The barrel of the gun was so close to Mr. Sam Cooke, it left gunpowder residue. On his sports coat, was on his left side. The barrel of the gun. He was just about an eighth of an inch. He was just that close. She was just that close. The evidence is overwhelming. First degree murder. That's first degree murder. Premeditate. I want to say capital murder. You know, there's a criteria for capital murder, the death penalty. But first degree murder, overwhelmed. The evidence is overwhelmed. No, you can't go into a court of law, civil court, criminal court, your emotions and feelings. Evidence. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Now, the clothing that Bertha Lee Franklin was wearing has blood on it. Now, you the shooter, you don't have any, it's not your blood. And you're supposed to be at work on your job. This is where you work. You came to work with blood on your clothes. Use your common sense. There were only two people at the crime scene. The shooter, Bertha Lee Franklin, the murderer, and the victim, Mr. Sam Cooke. There's only two people at the crime. So whose blood is that on the shooter's clothes? It's Mr. Sam Cooke's blood. Now, of course, we know we're dealing that time we do tests, but process of elimination. There's only two people at the crime scene. And we gotta ask this simple question. Did you come to work with blood on your clothing? And there's only two people at the crime scene. That's Mr. Sam Cooke's blood. You guilty. Mr. Sam Cooke was trying to kill you. You guilty. Because see blood splat. You're guilty. Even without test. Even without, test. The evidence overwhelming. I say, the evidence is overwhelming. The evidence is overwhelming. First degree murder. The evidence is overwhelming. So it's going to be justice for Mr. Sam Cooke in a court of law. Civil court, criminal court, that includes Saw Records. Mr. Sam Cooke's wife at the time that Bobby Chemical was still alive. She don't have nothing to worry about. Victims' rights. Victims' rights. Victims' rights. Saw Records. And they are two beautiful little daughters, Linda and Tracy. They are adults now. Don't have nothing to worry about. Victims' rights. Victims' rights. Mr. Sam Cooke, all his nieces, all his nephews, all the children. Victims' rights. All Mr. Sam Cooke's friends, the highway QCs, all his friends. People that were really friends with Mr. Sam Cooke, they don't have nothing. Victims' rights. Mr. Johnny Taylor, I know he's passed away now, but he was a prodigy of Mr. Sam Cooke. You know, the Soul Stirrers. I know many of the souls, the original Soul Stirrer. Still they have family members and things of this nature. And victims' rights. Victims' rights. And all the children, grandchildren. Victims' rights. Victims' rights. And always put God first. Always put God first. Always. And thank God for all the blessings and guidance that God provides us always. Now I'm going to get ready to end. Excuse me. I'm going to get ready to end my Instagram video. After I do my Instagram video, I'm doing my Periscope video. So,
slide up to see who...
just ended my my Instagram video. So what I'm doing now, do my Periscope video. Hello everybody, my name is Eric D. Jones, host on BrightShine, right here in the city of Memphis, in the county city, in the county of Shelby, in the state of in the city of Memphis. And thank all my family, my support for your continued current support. Anti-gang. The United States Department of Justice. Anti-gang. The United States Department of Justice. They've been around way longer than the sorority and fraternity alumni. They know way more than the sorority and fraternity alumni. Now, these are just a few of the free logo design websites, but you can go to the anti-gang logo. Now remember these words: coercion, sexual coercion, psychological coercion, psychological manipulation, psychological abuse. Now, making my video, the United Nations. That's all the people on earth. They know way. The United Nations know way more than the alumni, the sorority fraternity alumni. See, that's all the people on earth. See, when you try to go to other places on earth to try to negatively influence people, all the people on the earth are members of the United Nations. UNICEF, UNESCO, that's the United Nations. They know way more than a sorority fraternity alumni, than a cult literature that you be trying to use It ain't nothing. See all the crimes that people have committed in the past and try to commit today and will try to commit tomorrow in the future. With that literature, with that occult literature. See, the International Declaration of Human Rights. The International Declaration of Human Rights. The International Declaration of Human Rights. And just as important, and even more important, the Holy Bible. The Holy Bible. That occult literature is nothing. It ain't nothing. It's nothing. All lies. All lies. So now I'm going to continue to protest. I'm going to continue to speak out. I'm going to continue to be an advocate for Mr. Sam Cooke. A good man. A good man. Young man, 33 years old. Who was shot, killed, who was murdered by ignorant buffoon, field house nigga named Bertha Lee Frank. And there were some criminals. At that coroner's inquest who ruled it, the death of Miss Sample as a justified homicide is a lie. It's a lie. The evidence is overwhelming. First degree murder. I want to say capital murder, but that there's a criteria for capital murder. Death penalty. There's a criteria. But the evidence in Miss Samco's murder is overwhelming. First degree murder because there's premeditation. It's overwhelming. The evidence in Miss Samco's murder is overwhelming. It's overwhelming. She guilty. And they guilty. Now I purchased a copy of Miss Sam Cooke's coroner's the autopsy. The coroner's inquest. That's the state of California. That's the city of Los Angeles. The county of Los Angeles, the city of Los Angeles. And when you say the state of California, see the United States government, the United States Supreme Court. See, there are district courts. There's Supreme Court. There are federal district courts. Every state, including U.S. territory, is assigned to a federal district court. It's going to be justice in a court of law, civil court, criminal court. For Mr. Sam Cooke and his family, all his family. At the time Mr. Sam Cooke's death, he was married to his wife, Miss Barbara Campbell Cooke. She's still alive. And see, that's when you're right, you know it's wrong. At the time, Mr. Sam Cooke and his wife, Miss Barbara Campbell Cooke, had two beautiful little daughters. Linda and Tracy, they were little girls at the time of their father's murder. And Miss Sam Cooke's mother and father, who now passed on, who were alive at the time of his death. All his sisters and brothers, all his nieces and nephews, and all the children, all the grandchildren, all of Miss Sam Cooke's friends. Miss Sam Cooke as you know, from the state of Mississippi, moved to the city of to the city of Chicago, Illinois. Excuse me. And he's an original member of the Highway QC, singing group. Mr. Sam Cooke is an original member of the Highway QCs. And one of his projects, Mr. Sam Cooke started his own record label. One of his prodigies, Johnny Taylor, who is now, Mr. Taylor has now passed away himself. But Mr. Sam Cooke, all his friends, Mr. Lou Rawls, his best friend from Chicago, Illinois, and fans, myself. It's gonna be justice for Mr. Sam Cooke, all his family, all his friends and fans, in a court of law, civil court, criminal court. That includes Saw Records, victims' rights. Victims' rights. California, the County of Los Angeles, in the matter of the inquisition upon the body of Sam Cooke, deceased, before the coroner of the County of Los Angeles. We, the jury, summoned to appear before the coroner of Los Angeles County, room 150, Hall of Justice, Los Angeles, California, on the 16th day of December 18, 1964, to inquire into the cause of the death of Sam Cooke, having been duly sworn according to law, having made such inquisition, and hearing the testimony adduced upon our oath, each and all do say that we find that the deceased was named Sam Cooke, a male married native of Mississippi, aged by 33 years, that he came to his death on the 11th day of December 1964 at 9137 South Figueroa Avenue, Los Angeles County, California. That his death was caused by a gunshot wound to chest, perforating the heart and both lungs, with massive hemorrhage inflicted by a gun in the hands of Bertha Franklin at 9137 South Figueroa Avenue, Los Angeles, California. After the deceased had made forcible entry, and from the testimony used at this time, we find the death to be justifiable homicide committed by the said Bertha Franklin, protecting the life and property, all of which we duly certified by this inquisition writing by us, signed the 16th day of December 1964. That's wrong. That's wrong. It's wrong. The evidence in Miss Sam Cooke's murder case is overwhelming. Guilty. Bertha Lee Franklin, an ignorant buffoon, field house nigga. Guilty. First degree murder. I want to say capital murder. The death penalty. Evidence in a court of law, civil court, criminal court. Evidence. Not your emotions, not your feelings. Evidence. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, civil court, criminal court. You're innocent until proven guilty. Miss Sam Cooke's murder case, first degree murder, guilty. Evidence overwhelming. Now the criteria for, the death penalty, capital murder, you understand, you have to go by law. But like I said, the evidence, first degree murder, is overwhelming. It's overwhelming. Guilty. Now, the evidence. Miss Sam Cooke's murder case, the evidence. First of all, the shooter, the murderer, Bertha Lee Franklin, made a statement to the police at the crime scene. Made a statement. The gun, the handgun that was used, the firearm, a wrong 22 revolver, and as well as the bullet that killed Mr. Sam Cooke. It was recovered from his body. They did ballistic tests. It matched. It matched. Now, use your common sense. Mr. Sam Cooke, both his lungs and his heart, both lungs and his heart were hit by the bullet. It was one bullet hit. It was shot to kill Mr. Sam Cooke. Now, you can't use a wrong 22 revolver, handgun, firearm to shoot and kill Mr. Sam Cooke from the front and the back and hit both lungs and the heart. Use your common sense. Mr. Sam Cooke was shot and killed from his left side. From his left side. He was shot and killed from his left side at close range. The barrel of the gun. Mr. Sam Cooke at the time of his death had a sports coat, a sports jacket on. The barrel of the gun was so close to Mr. Sam Cooke at close range, about 1/8 of an inch. It left gunpowder residue on the left side. Left gunpowder residue. I said it left gunpowder. You were just that close. You can't be that close to anybody with a firearm. and put the barrel that close. It left gunpowder residue. And the bullet, like I said, the bullet was recovered from the sample, and then this stupid person had the nerve to shoot 2 more bullets. They recovered, the police recovered another bullet at the crime scene. Then there was another shot. There were 3 shots fired. The other bullet, they didn't fire. Now, the shooter was so close to Mr. Sam Cooke that there was blood on the shooter's clothing. There's only 2 people at the crime scene. Only 2 people at the crime scene. The shooter, Bertha Lee Franklin, and the victim, Mr. Sam Cooke. You can't have blood on your clothes, and there's only 2 people at the crime scene. You guilty, even without a test. See, there was a time in America that wanted to so process of elimination. You're gonna try to tell the people in the courtroom that you came to work with blood on your clothes. Then whose blood is? Is it an animal's blood? You know, is it an animal? Is it animal blood? Why the hell would you come to work with clothing, with blood on your clothes? And then the Sam could get shot and killed. You see, we talking about it, so that even without a test, they just say we don't use test. They just say process of elimination. First of all, there's only 2 people at the crime scene. So the Sam was shot and killed. The blood splat. You the shooter. The blood splat not on the wall. The blood splat on the shoulder. The shooter was so close to Miss Sam Cooke in close range. See, you can't do that. See, you got to answer too many questions. Why you came to work with blood on your clothes? Is it animal blood? Whose blood is that? Is that your blood? See, you got to answer too many questions. And then when you try to say you're not going to see the court, I already know you're here. Remain silent. Well, okay, I mean, it's your constitutional right. The evidence on them. See, then the detective gonna go out on the street and process of elimination. But we live in a day and time we use tests, but we just thought because the court ain't always had no DNA test. We just see this how people got convicted, and I mean, they were guilty. We ain't finna sit up here and argue about it. But we just, process of elimination. 2 people at the crime scene. You got blood on your clothing. You guilty. You guilty. There's only 2 people at the crime scene. You guilty. You guilty. And there were pictures taken of the crime scene. The picture number 5 shows Mr. Sam Cooke's body at the time of his death. At the time of his death. You guilty. Mr. Sam Cooke, he wasn't standing. Look at the direction of the bullet going in a downward direction. Downward. Hit the left lung first, hit the heart, then hit the right lung in a downward direction. You guilty. Mr. Sam Cooke was on his knees. That's not no justifiable homicide. That's first degree murder. We get it. But we live in a day and time now. Victims' rights. This Barbara Chemical don't have nothing to worry about. Like I say, the evidence is overwhelming. Don't have to be afraid to go to court. The attorney that supposed to be representing Miss Barbara Chemical in effective assistant counsel. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I'm sitting here. What the hell I'm doing? In effective assistant counsel. Saw records. Victims' rights. Victims' rights. So like I said, victims' rights. Sam Cooke, with Sam Cooke, he one of the reasons why we have victims' rights today. And so it's gonna be justice. It's gonna be justice in a court of law, civil court, criminal court, for Mr. Sam Cooke. Mr. Sam Cooke for all his family. Nieces, nephews, Miss Barbara Campbell Cook, Linda, Trey, all the children, all the grandchildren, you know what I'm saying? All the family, you know what I'm saying? All the friends, the Highway QC, all of Miss Sample's friends, the Soul Stirrer, you know what I'm saying? All of Miss Sample's friends, because they have families too. Many of the Soul Stirrer, the original Soul Stirrer, have passed on now. But still they have family, and it means just as much to them as it means to me and Miss Sam's family. They want justice. They want justice for Miss Sam. That's not right. What that stupid woman done, that's not right. And it's not right with the people in that so-called corners inquest. It wasn't right. It's not right. And it's going to be justice. Victims' rights. Now I know I make my video, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to move a little fast today because enough time. I had to work. I still got to work, but I be wanting to do my videos and to make sure that a lot of things that people try to get away with, every don't go for that. Every don't. Zero tolerance. Zero tolerance. No. You know, it really irritates me that when people that, you know, you have all these people in the sorority and the fraternity, and then you see all the men and all the women and the men at the Justice Department, working at the United States Justice Department. You know what I'm saying? Anti-gang. And even before they say anti-gang, the Organized Crime Control Act, the RICO Act, the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organization Act. The U.S. government, through the law, was not tolerating that criminal, organized crime, that crime gang stuff. And that literature that you were trying to use. See, they were telling you that's wrong. They were showing you. They ain't just say or no. They were showing they were putting people in jail. People in federal penitentiary right now. State penitentiary. The RICO Act. The Organized Crime Control Act. They ain't just tell you that literature is wrong. They showed you. They read why your ass sitting in the penitentiary, in the federal and state penitentiary today. Talk about some blood gang, crip gang. They showed you. It's wrong. It's wrong. But like I said, I'm gonna be moving a little fast because of time. You know, on my video. Now the title of this book is West African Traditional Religion. It was written by Dr. Joseph Homicide, but later on Dr. P. Adonamo, the Penguin. And the title of the book is African Traditional Religion, definition written by Dr. E. Beloja Adonamo. The title of this book is African Religion and Philosophy, written by Dr. John S. M. Eden. And the title of the book is Concepts of God in Africa, written by Dr. John S. M. Eden. See, the Organized Crime Control Act of 1970 and Title IX of the Organized Crime Control Act of 1970, the Racketeer, Influence, and Corrupt Organization, and the RICO Act is anti-gang. And also, the Comprehensive Drug Abuse Prevention and Control Act 1970, the Controlled Substance Act, the Psychotropic Substance Act, the Continuing Criminal Justice Act, Kingpin Act. See, it's all anti-gang. See, the U.S. government, they're telling you that this so-called gang mob is wrong. It's wrong. They know way, the U.S. Department of Justice know way more than the sorority fraternity alumni. They know way more than you. See, that's the reason why I do the things I do. That's the reason why I be out on the street with you bitches. With you cowboy ass bitches. Juvenile Justice Links Prevention Act of 1974 established the Office of Juvenile Justice Links Prevention. See, that's one thing I don't like. I don't like no cowboy ass bitches always instigating to provoke. And you don't know what you're talking about. See, all these years, man, as well as related legislation, comprehensive anti-gang initiative, Office of Juvenile Justice Links Prevention, the comprehensive gang law, Office of Juvenile Justice Links Prevention, the Bureau of Justice System, the Office of Justice Program, the United States Department of Justice, the Office of Justice Program, the Bureau of Justice System, the United States Department of Justice, comprehensive anti-gang and Project Safe Neighborhood, the United States Department of Justice, the Office of Community Oriented Police, comprehensive anti-gang the Office of Juvenile Justice Links Prevention, the United States Department of Justice, Office of Justice Program, the Bureau of Justice System, the International Narcotics Law Firm, the FIRE, the United States Department of State Institute for Intergovernmental Affairs, Gang Resistant Education and Training, the GREAT Program, the United States Department of Justice, Office of Justice Program, the Office of Juvenile Justice Links Prevention. In October 2009, National Youth Gang Center, which has been funded by the Office of Juvenile Justice Links Prevention since 1995, merged with the National Gang Center, which have been funded by the Bureau of Justice since 2003. The National Gang Center culminates state laws against gang prevention overview research program. Mr. James A. Office of Juvenile Justice Links Prevention, United States Department of Justice, Bureau of Justice, Office of Juvenile Justice Links Prevention, National Gang Center, but the title of that book, History Street Gangs in the United States. You can go to the quick route Wikipedia. You find the same information, you title gangs in the United States. The United States Department of Justice, Office of the United States Attorney, 1457 Current Street Gang Stat, 18 United States Code 521. The United States Department of Justice for Investigation, National Gang Intelligence Center. The United States Department of Justice, Organized Crime and Gang Station. You also have other federal, state, and local agencies. The United States Department of Justice, Office of Justice Program, National Institute of Justice, Anti-Gang Strategy, Prevention, Intervention, Assessment, and Suppression. The United States Department of Justice, Office of Justice Program, National Institute of Justice, United States Department of Health and Human Services, Center for Disease Control, Prevention, National Center for Injury Prevention and Control, changing course, preventing gang membership, and strive to reduce youth violence everywhere. The United States Department of Justice, United States Department of Education, United States Department of Health and Human Services, United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, United States Department of Labor, Unified House Office, National Drug Control Board, National Forum Youth Violence Prevention Forum. You can go to youth.gov and inform about the National Forum Youth Violence Prevention Forum, as well as the comprehensive anti-gang and the comprehensive gang model. United States Department of Justice, Bureau of Justice, National Crime Prevention Council, keeping kids out of gang. United States Department of Justice, hazing is a crime. You go to Lord.com and inform about anti-hate. Now I know they gave the 13 continent, the pre-13 continent. Harvard University is the oldest institution of higher learning in the United States, founded March 13, 1639, came from Massachusetts. William Mary Clyde William Bird, Virginia, found February 8, 1693, second oldest 2009, United States of America. Phi Beta Kappa Psi found December 5th, 1776, the College of William Mary, and recognized as the first Greek letter student signed North America. Alpha Delta Pi, first sorority founded in 1851, Wesleyan College, Macon, Georgia. The first organization to adopt the first sorority, Gamma Phi Beta, established on November 11, 1874, Seventh Green University, Seventh Green, New York. The first women's fraternity, DuPont College, 1807. The basis of the sorority fraternity is the old world seen society from Africa, from Asia, and from Europe. Example, the Eastern Star Freemasons. Talking about Euclid and mathematician Leonard Alexander Euclid, 1390, 1425, mentioned the Holloway manuscript, read the book, Cook manuscript, and Downing manuscript. Now, examples of the old world seen society from Africa, from Asia, from Europe. Skull and Bone, Rosecrans, Sun, Limb, Thug Side, Brown Sound, Ordo Temporary, Knights of the Golden Eagle, the ancient Erica Order of the Northern Miss Shrine, the Approved Order of Guilds of the Eastern Star Freemasons, the Elks, the Lord of the Bilderberg Group, the Ku Klux Klan, Knights of Bethesda, Knights of Columbus, the Illuminati, Far Society, Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, the Mystic Order of the Empire of the Enchanted Ram, the United Order of the Golden Cross, United Ancient Order of Druid, National Grand, Ancient Order of the Name of Zach, the Knights Temple, the Scottish Rite, the Spanish Garduma, Carbonera, the Black Hand, the State Mafia, the Afro-Asiatic, the State Coastal North, the Latin, the Triad, the Yak, Osiris. Now, street slang words, gang plus stir, mob plus stir. See, when you had this Merriam-Webster Third New International Dictionary and Oxford English Dictionary, give the complete total definition meaning of the word gang plus stir, mob plus stir. Then you have other street slang like boss, goon, thug, crook, hooligan, move, hooligan, mac, player, pimp, whore, hustler, nigga, film, nigga, house nigga, street slang. We have street slang from music, hip hop, rock and roll, swing, groove, jazz, blues, funk, doo-wop, bebop. It's street slang. Street slang for money, currency exchange. Bucks, backstack, band, bread, dough, scratch, little move, Benjamin bread, dead president. It's street slang. Now the sorority return. The United States Department of Justice, hazing the crime. The sorority term they use that occult literature. They use hazing and initiation ritual. The sorority term, they commit crime on and off the campus. They use and abuse tobacco products. Then does in gambling, gang chain. They use and abuse alcohol and drugs. Then does in immoral activity. Then does in sexual leaving in the private. Now, don't let the sorority return mislead you. And all those persons who started, initiated the sorority, denounced the whole concept and idea of sorority return. They ain't nothing. Trying to call themselves sister, brother, and Latin. The sorority return, they work in their man, the business, comes in corporation. They use and misuse the background check. They commit crimes against humanity, try to violate the human rights, civil rights, inhumanity, genocide, ethnic cleansing, all forms of discrimination and harassment. They pollute the air, groundwater, and noise pollution. They destroy the environment, nature, and wildlife. So don't let the sorority return to mislead. Now you have a list of place names of Native American origin in the United States. For example, Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, Connecticut, Idaho, Illinois, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Nebraska, New Mexico, North, South Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Wisconsin, Wyoming. Let's scroll all the way down to the bottom where it says see also. You see a list of place names of indigenous origin in America. Now you know when we be talking about piracy and pirates, that's that literature, that occult literature. See, this is one of the reasons, not the only. This is one of the reasons why you have the United Nations International Bill Declaration of Human Rights. It's one of the reasons, the International Declaration of Human Rights, because of piracy, the pirates. Now, the United States Department of Justice, the Office of Juvenile Justice and Prevention, the Bureau of Justice System, the National Gang Center Bulletin, and the title of the book, The History of Street Gangs in the United States, written by Mr. Jackson Howe, Mr. John P. Moore. And you can also go to the quick reference, Wikipedia. You'll find the same information be titled gangs in the United States. Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, Global Rights, Frontline Defender, Human Rights Watch Frontier, International Server for Human Rights, Conservation International, Wildlife Conservation Society, Conservation Fund, Legal Conservation Board, Earth Watch, Institute, Conservancy Association, Earth Justice, the Conservation Volunteer, Wildlife Conservation Network, Endangered Wildlife Trust, Biodiversity Nature Conservancy Association, Diverse Species Conservation Center, the Wildlife Research Conservation Trust, the Rainforest Trust, the International Rainforest Conservation Organization, Rainforest Alliance, the Rainforest Action Network, the Biodiversity International Earth Day Network, the Environmental Defense Fund, Friends of the Earth, Friends of Nature, Greenpeace, the Nature Conservancy, Wildlife Conservation Society, Soil and Water Conservation, Clean Water Action, Worldwide Council, Marine Conservation Institute, Marine Conservation Alliance, Ocean Preservation Society, Ocean Society, Global Ocean Commission, the International Marine Life Alliance. Now this is the International Bill on Human Rights. And this is the Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. And this is the Declaration of Rights of the Child. And this is the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. And this is the world's oldest human rights organization, Anti-Slavery International. And this is the International Federation for Human Rights. And the world's oldest international conservation organization, BirdLife International. Fauna and Flora International was the world's first international wildlife conservation organization. The world's oldest global environmental organization, the International Union for Conservation of Nature, and also the World Wildlife Fund. Catholic Church and all that particular church. The reason why is because they're occult literature. Because that's what they were. They were occultists. It's not right. The Catholic Church and all that particular church, that's where it came from. The occult. The Protestant Reformation movement church, 95 Thesis Church, that's the Catholic Church and all that particular church. They be using that occult because that's where it came from. They the Catholic Church and all that particular church. It came from the occult. American Restoration Movement, Stone Camel Movement. That's the Catholic Church and all that particular churches. It came from the Church of Christ. It's not right. Stone and Camel using us doing a secret handshake. It came from that occult literature. Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul, a lying, murdering devil. He was an occultist. He wrote all those epistles in the New Testament. The man-made religious organization may be using those epistles. For example, Romans chapter 16, verse 16, salute one another with the holy kiss. The church, they put the suffix ES on the end of church of Christ salute. And then another example, 2 Thessalonians chapter 1 verse 4, so that we ourselves glory you in the church. They put the suffix ES of God for your patient favor, all your persecution, trembling, they ye endure. Devil worship, Satanism, no such thing. You can't take the words devil and Satan out the Holy Bible. The Holy Bible is consecrated holy book. You can't take the word devil and Satan out the Holy Bible. Ain't no such thing as no devil worship. Ain't no such thing as no Satanism. It's religious persecution. It's religious persecution. It's religious persecution. Now, the sorority and the fraternity, the alumni, that's a cult. Now, that literature, that occult literature, Western esotericism, Western mystery tradition, Hermetism, Gnosticism, Neoplatonism, Rosicrucianism, Freemasonry, Eastern Star, Angel and Light, Spiritualism, Kabbalah. You see occult and arcane. You see microcosm, exoteric. See, this that occult literature. That's where the Catholic Church came from. In all that particular church, that's where all that Protestant Reformation movement, Church of 95 Thesis Church, that's where the American Restoration movement, the Stone Camel movement, the Church Christ came from. That's where it came from. And see, the United States Department of Justice, they know about it. They know about it. The United Nations. All the people on the earth. See, when you try to go somewhere on this earth, they know. It's going to be the same thing. It's going to be based on that. You just taking information from the same junk, from the same lie, making up some more lies. Occult, arcane, esoteric, spiritualism, theosophy, anthroposophy, hermetic order of the golden dawn, the new age, and then you have occult science and occult quality. See, like I said, the United States Department of Justice, they know. If you see me holding a piece of paper and I wrote that stuff, they know. The United States Department of Justice, they know. The United Nations, trying to go somewhere on this earth, like people don't know. The United Nations, UNESCO, UNICEF, they know. They know. continue to study the first century. I mean, it's important. Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the Son of God, he was born in the first century, lived in the first century, to establish the church in the first century, crucified in the first century, resurrected in the first century, rose to heaven in the first century. Now, continue to study out ancient people in the Bible. The Amorites, Afro-Asiatic, Egyptians, Afro-Asiatic, the Amalekites, they supposed descendants of Esau. The Kenites, they were a nomadic tribe in the ancient Levant. Moses' father-in-law was a Kenite. Then the Canaanites, they ancient people. The Kenizzite, ancient people. Jupiter, father of the Israelite kingdom, is called the Kenizzite. The Hittites, Indo-European. The Perizzites, ancient people. Rephites, Zamzum, they were ancient people, considered to be giants. Canaanites. Canaan, son of Ham, grandson of Canaanite, ethnic catch-all tribe, covered with indigenous population. Both settled, nomadic, pastoral group throughout southern parts of Canaan. And then the Gergesites, they were descendants of Canaan. Jebusite, Jebus, the Hivites, Horites, the Arameans, Philistines, and the Philistines, they not Afro-Asiatic, and they have not been determined to be Indo-European. The Moabites, Afro-Asiatic, Midianites, Afro-Asiatic, the Ammonites, Afro-Asiatic. going to turn to the Old Testament in the Holy Bible, to the 5 books of Moses, the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 1 through 17, the 10 Commandments. Pay close attention. See, this is the reason why that occult is wrong. See, God told you in the 10th commandment, I am the Lord thy God. It's wrong. You don't listen to man, you listen to God. Chapter 20, the 10 Commandments, the book of Exodus, 5 books of Moses. Start reading verse number 1 through 17. And God spake all these words to him. I am the Lord thy God. That lives is wrong. Which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of blood. Thou shalt have no other God before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or either likeness or anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water on earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them nor serve them, for I, the Lord, thy God, am a jealous God, doing the iniquity of the father upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto those, unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord, thy God, in vain, for the Lord will not hold them guiltless. They take his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord, thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For on the 6th day the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea and all that in them is, and rested the 7th day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his maidservant, nor his manservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. That are called lives is wrong. Now, that was the Old Testament. We're going to turn to the New Testament. We just went to the Old Testament. I am the Lord thy God in the Ten Commandments 5 times. It's wrong. Told you God told you 5 times in the Ten Commandments. I am the Lord thy God. They'll call it what you want. Let's go to the New Testament. The greatest commandment in the law. You go to the book of Matthew, chapter 22, verses 35 through 40. The book of Mark, chapter 12, verses 28 through 31. And the book of Luke, chapter 10, verses 25 through 28. The greatest commandment of the law. The book of Matthew, chapter 22, verses 35 to 40. And read. Then one of them, which was a lawyer, asked him a question, tempting him, saying, Master, which is the great commandment in the law? Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart. What that mean? All the scriptures in the Old Testament, major prophets, minor prophets, believe and with all thy soul. What that mean? Now, when Jesus Christ was a baby, years out, when Jesus Christ was a little baby, and it had been prophesied that a little child, King Herod, he went all around looking for the child, and trying to kill the child that had been prophesied. So what happened to those little babies? Where did they go? Those little babies that King Herod killed. What about those little babies? See, love the Lord thy God with all thy soul. And with all thy mind. What that mean? See, this is what it means. Let's talk about King Herod. What he did. He claimed he was reading the scripture. And then he went around and killed all the babies. See, you can't be claiming to be a spiritual, a righteous person. Because he was King Herod. And then he'll go over to the temple, claiming he was the king of the Jews. And then, in your mind, you go and kill all the children, claiming that instead of looking for the Messiah, to worship the Messiah, you want to kill the Messiah. You see, you're supposed to love the Lord thy God with all thy mind. That ain't what you're supposed to do. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. What that mean? Do right. Do right. Because how you gonna love your neighbor, you don't love thyself? You done killed yourself. Look what we do now. We have all this vaping. We already told you smoking is bad for your health. And then what you do? You start vaping. And just as bad. It's just as bad. So how you gonna love thy neighbor as thyself? You don't even love yourself. See, before you love thy neighbor, you got to love yourself. Because you don't even know how to love. You don't even know how to love yourself. See, it starts with self. Before you even get to your neighbor, you got to do something about yourself first. And then you can talk about your neighbor. Because there's the possibility your neighbor might keep. I mean, you instigate, provoke people. You know, you love yourself. And your neighbor is a witness. And then you want to try to talk to your neighbor about it. You don't even love yourself. So God, that was God told you, love thy neighbor as thy love. You should love thyself. It starts with self first. On these two commandments, hang all the law and the prophets. That a cult lives, it can't be right. That's the reason why it can't be right. And the verse, same thing. Excuse me. Now, I'm gonna get ready to end today's video. My name is Eric D. Johnson, also on BrightShine, right here in the city of Memphis, in the county, the state of Tennessee. Thank all my family, my support, community, and care support. Now, the United States Department of Justice said anti-gang. It ain't what Eric said. It's what the women and the men who have mastery, PhD. The Justice Department been around way long, and they know way more than the sorority and the fraternity, the alumni. The United States Department of anti-gang. And even in the past, the U.S. government was trying to fight against organized crime, and corrupt organization, racketeering, with the prohibition. That's what we're doing. A bunch of damn criminals. Then they try to make us some kind of literature. Slavery, the pirates. That when the word gang came from, it came from their literature, their mob. And when you be trying to talk about street slang, be the same thing, you be trying to use that damn literature. Trying to pull the same coward ass shit. Talking about a damn street slang. See, the United States Department of Justice, anti-gang. You see, when they call that literature, that occult literature. The United States Department just they know about it. See that where gang and mob came from. It was the people that was using that occult literature. And then they made up that gang, that mob. See, the United States Department just they know about it. The United States Department just they know about it. The United Nations. The United Nations. The people all over the earth. People all over the earth. They know about it. UNICEF, UNESCO, they know about it. They know about it that they live. You see, in the past, all that crimes that were committed, the United Nations, they enacted the International Bill on Human Rights. It's wrong. That occult is wrong. See, when people do things of that nature, it's just like I've been saying. See, it was wrong yesterday. It's wrong today. It's going to be wrong tomorrow. Background check. Background check. Because there's a lot of wrong that people did yesterday intentionally did because they wanted to make sure that they put something in place. So they intentionally did wrong. So, next generation come behind them. They'll look at what they did. And that's what they learn. And they think that what their forefathers did was right. It was wrong. There's rewrites according to background check on people in the past. For example, skull, the sorority turned skull and bones. The Rosicrucians, the Freemasons, the Eastern Stars, background check on people yesterday. It's important. The Ku Klux Klan. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. The Mystic Order of the Bell Prophets of the Enchanted Realm. The Ancient Arabic Order of the Nobles of the Mystic Shrine. Man, background check. Background check. The Illuminati. Background check. Now, it's going to be justice. in a court of law. Civil court, under court for Mr. Sam Cook. For Mr. Sam Cook, victims' rights. Always put God first. Always thank God for all the blessings and guidance He provides us always. You know. But at the end of the day, then until next time, take care of yourself. Because you want you being ready.